Welcome back to the Midday Reset. My name is Antoinette, and today I want to talk to you about the savior complex. More specifically, this idea that you can't save people. And I'm not talking about pushing someone out of the pathway of a speeding train or talking someone off of a literal ledge that they are considering jumping off of. I'm referring to the internal saving that many of us think that we can do for others around us whom we love. I'm totally guilty of this, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I see it as an expression of love, really. When your best friend, sibling, or spouse is going through a difficult time, and you can recognize the solutions they need, in your mind, you just want to get them there. But their healing process cannot be completed in your mind or on your timeline. It has to be theirs. Think about some of the advice that was given to you when you were a kid. That nagging advice that you didn't want to listen to. My father was always really good at this. He isn't right about everything, but there were some clear, definitive moments when I was growing up when my father told me certain tidbits that I wanted to ignore at the time in favor of doing things my own way. I'm sure it was frustrating for him to watch, as in many cases he was trying to help me avoid making the same kinds of mistakes that he had encountered when he was younger. But I had to arrive at that transformation spot on my own. It did not matter that he had tried to caution me. I had to fall into the pit on my own, so to speak, in order to recognize the error in my approach. The same is true for anyone around you whom you are trying to save, and I am saying this because working hard to try to save people, turn them around, or change them is futile. It's another one of those ways that we can give our energy away if we aren't careful. That isn't to say that we shouldn't still pour our energy into loving those around us who need help. That's the beauty of life, I feel. Even when a person is down and out, there's always someone out there who can relate, who shares compassion, or who just wants to lend a hand to uplift someone in a bad situation. We don't see as many examples of this in our world, but the humanity still exists. You can find it out in the world when you interact with people. It's a little harder to find if you just search the internet. But back to this energetic transaction that takes place when we want to save someone else from something, I want to quickly highlight 3 better alternatives to approaching the predicament this way. I have learned through experience that the intention behind this energy is spot on, but the method of bestowing that energy can be misguided when we want to rush in and play superhero. First, consider how that comes across to whomever it is that you're talking to. Just like you used to roll your eyes when your grandma would make you put on a sweater in 70-degree weather, or the way I would get annoyed at my dad always stepping in with his dadisms, the person who you want to help doesn't want to be lectured. They aren't soliciting a visit from someone atop a high horse who is shouting instructions down at them. So don't be that. Instead, ask them how you might help. This puts them in the driver's seat of their predicament by letting them call the shots, and that's how it's supposed to be. Next, remember that while you are a loyal, knowledgeable loved one, you do not know it all. While you may believe you know what's best for someone else, there's no guarantee that you actually do. As your friend, spouse, sibling, or otherwise contemplates their options, be a good listener. Good listeners don't talk a whole lot unless invited to. They don't judge. They don't shut the other person down when they try to make a point. The person you see struggling needs that, not a bunch of finger wagging from someone who thinks they know best. By lending yourself to your friend in this way, you are demonstrating that you value their perspective, and you should. After all, this is their life that they're trying to figure out, and they have the best view of that. Lastly, I want you to keep in mind that regardless of your love, your undying devotion, and dedication to seeing this through with the other person, you must realize that you cannot take ownership of problems or issues that are not yours. I say this because this business of saving people or thinking that we can save people, it takes a psychological toll when we allow ourselves to internalize the problems of those around us. I did this for years, and it was so emotionally exhausting. I thought friendships were just draining and time-consuming until someone pointed out to me that I didn't have to take ownership of my friend's predicament because she got evicted from her apartment, or my distant relative relapsed on hard drugs. A person who needs to lose weight, get their education, straighten out their credit, or stop drinking is the owner of those issues, not me or you. We can love them and walk with them as they figure things out. We can be a sounding board they can bounce ideas off of. We can help them research their options. But at the end of the day, just like a little baby that's been birthed, those hang-ups belong to them, not us. We cannot bring ourselves down by allowing their issues to become ours because that stunts our own progress, and our friendships aren't here to drag us down or slow us. They're here to make us into even better people. Let me know about your own struggles with trying to save people. I've encountered this a ton, and it's been a hard lesson to learn, but I am so grateful to have discovered that there is a safe, happy place where you can exist compassionately without putting yourself at risk. You can also lift up the people around you safely from that zone, and once they conquer their affliction, they can turn around and give you back some of that great energy that you shared. Write to me at themdrpodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me on Instagram at @themidday_reset. I love hearing from you. Till then, take care, and I will see you next time.